Two, one. Hey, Rad World, welcome back to Spoiling Dead. It has been a while. I am Tony Walters. I'm your moderator. Let's kick it off over to your host at the table, Rebekah Erb.
Hey, guys. We are back, and I'm here with the one and only Daniel Murphy. And it has been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It kind of feels good to be back.
It feels weird to be back.
It feels weird, but I wish it wasn't under these circumstances. I wore my hat that kind of resembles the sweet Carl Grimes. And yeah, so...
It's a lovely memorial.
I tried. I was going to do an eye patch, but I didn't go that far. So yeah, let's get going on the conversation. Obviously, our main point is going to be Carl. I mean, for obvious reasons. I mean, not only is that the main thing that we've dealt with in this episode, but everything that has happened so far is because of Carl, you know? Every move that Rick has made was for Carl and his family. So having him gone is really, really, really weird.
He's still got Judith. Not that
true.
makes it any better.
True.
But, you know, if he
Yeah.
needs motivation, I get that too, you know, you do basically everything you do in life, you kind of have to think about your kids, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And
For
consider that. So it does affect your decision.
Yeah.
Very emotional episode.
Very, very emotional
Father
episode.
and son thing.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning, you know, right before the opening credits. You know, we're back at that vision of old Rick, and we find out that the girl is, in fact, Judith. So that's kind of nice to know. But, you know, we kind of see Carl's last moments before he is bedridden from his bite. And I think that this is really a testament of his character and what his character is all about, because this whole time he's not thinking of himself. He's thinking about everybody else. He's writing those letters. He's doing stuff around Alexandria. He's having those last moments with Judith, which that messed me up bad. That messed me up so bad.
The handprint in the paint got me, and then it was like we realized, well, that house gonna burn down, so what's the point in that?
I know, which I didn't even think about that. Alexandria is gone. It is completely destroyed. I didn't even
Flattened.
think about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's like the one last piece that is like salvageable
Well,
or whatever.
they managed to find a halfway decent house. That's what I didn't get.
Well,
They took him out of the
church.
sewer and then took him into a burning house.
And for
Burned
me,
house.
like, you know, he's underground. And if I was Rick, I would be like, those last moments, like, get him
Yeah.
out. He's going to be in the ground for the
Yeah, I
rest
get
of
that.
everything. Like, let's get him out up above ground and have, you know, one last moment with him. But, you know, with all of this and everything that Carl has been through, the poor kid losing his father, thinking that he lost his father, getting shot, you know, by a hunter, losing his eye. I mean, how does this kid still have as much hope as he does?
And that's the difference between him and, you know, maybe a grown-up that has already lived most of their life and then experienced this. Like, he was old enough to understand it, but he grew up with this, so he sees people differently. He's more compassionate. He wants to treat people the way he wants to be treated. He's just a pure person because of, I think, his age when it all started. Whereas
Sure.
Right,
people are already tainted.
He grew up, he
Right,
was forced to grow up fast
Right.
because of, you know,
And then
the
he recalls
conditions.
the moment at the prison where he shot that other boy. And, you know, this whole time we're thinking, or, you know, according to Carl, that it was in self-defense. He wasn't putting his gun down. And then we find out that he was actually putting his gun down, and Carl he couldn't get him out of his mind.
Right.
So I think a lot of the hope that Carl has was from that
The
moment.
guilt.
The guilt, yeah. He
Right.
decided that he was going to try his hardest to fulfill what his mom wanted him to be. She wanted him to beat this world. And, you know, I think, you know, since he realized what he did by shooting that boy, that kind of turned him around.
Yeah, he definitely beat the world with the time that he had in it because he was better about it than other
Yes,
people. And he was the only person so far that's cracked Negan wide open. So, you know, he had to be doing something right. And
Yeah.
it's just how compassionate he was and how level-headed he was.
Yeah.
And, you know, the moment when he killed that kid back at the prison, I think he had to have that moment in order to tell the difference between what it's like to kill somebody that didn't deserve to be killed and what it's like to kill somebody that does.
Yep.
You know, you got to know. That's how you learn things.
I completely agree.
So.
And it's just, you know, it's just sad.
It
was so.
It was sad. You know, even I tried to like make excuses. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
But obviously it was, you know, and it did. And the way it went down for what it was really well done.
For sure, I completely.
Everybody's goodbyes were perfect for each of the characters that had to say it.
Completely agree. And
except for Sadiq.
And and then Judith gets the hat because like at the beginning of the episode, one of my first thoughts was like, who's gonna get the hat?
That's what I said.
Like,
I said maybe she grows up to be like Carl in the comics, but it's Judith.
Yeah, but
know?
I think that was another moment. Like I was already crying, but that was another moment where I'm just like, I can't do
Well, there's
this
a lot of
anymore.
badass moments for kids in this one. Because what's that other kid's name?
From Oceanside?
No, the kid that Carol said, "No, you're not coming."
Oh,
and he snuck in there anyway.
Right, yeah,
Saved the
for
day.
sure. So, what is your guys' favorite Carl moment from season 1, day 1?
Ask Tony first, because he just surely can't have many. He hates the show.
Yeah, that's a good point.
My favorite Carl moment is just the last the episode right before this one where he stands up to Negan is probably my favorite Carl moment because I absolutely hated his character until that moment and then he died. So,
as I said, oh gosh, I don't know. Carl as a character has created a lot of cool moments in the show and a lot of tension because he's a kid.
Oh, when he got shot in the eye too, that was a pretty good one.
That was pretty cool. How he survived that, I mean, I know it can happen, but what are the chances surviving it? But I don't know. That was a good moment just because of the gore factor of it. But I don't. The moment at the farm was a pretty stressful moment as far as connecting with the show. So maybe the moment then when he got shot, staring at that deer.
Yeah.
Pow.
Yeah. My favorite moment
was Carl got shot. That's not very nice, is it?
I mean, no, I get it though. I have two. My favorite moment is at the farm when he wakes up from his like coma for the first time, and his first thing is, "Mom, you should have seen that deer." Like right there is another like moment where you can like really see what character he's turning into. And then again after the prison when he goes off while Rick is kind of struggling for his life and he kills like 4 walkers, gets a thing of pudding and sits up on the roof and eats some pudding, and that's like another pivotal moment for his character. And yeah, those two are definitely my favorite.
It's just watching him grow up, going through the stuff that we all went through, but he had to do it in a slightly different way.
For
like
sure.
what was everyday life for him.
Like we've got to see him grow up. We've seen so many arcs of this character, and it's just, it's sad, when like Len and Abraham, died, but it's a whole nother thing with Carl because we got to see him grow up, and he's been just such a big part of this story, and it's.
He's just a good guy. I've seen the kid out and about at different conventions, and he's just a good guy.
He really is.
He's the only one that was. I mean, I can't say the only one, but he was one of the few that welcomed people. Was always came out from behind the table just to say hello.
I can see that. I mean,
appreciated it.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a mature, articulate young man. I mean, just by him, like watching him on Talking Dead, I mean, he's a really good kid. Yeah, very, very talented. Yeah. And I'm just really excited to see what what
the future brings.
Endeavors
He'll get some gigs.
Oh, for sure.
If he hasn't already,
I think he coming up because he's a part of a band.
Yeah,
so
and he just did
going on
something
tour.
else. I can't think what that was, but
I think a band is a strong word.
He used to travel around with his family. He was in a band with his dad, and they traveled around. His family had a family
I didn't realize that.
band.
That's cool.
I don't know what he's doing now. Is he in his own band now?
He has like that little techno thing that he does. It's pretty garbage sounding, but.
I just knew that he was in some kind of band. I figured it was with like a group of people, but is it just him with the techno thing?
That's all I know of now.
Oh, gotcha. But
he's a music person, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, so Carl's death is obviously going to change the direction of the war somehow. And at first like going back and forth through like the Henry thing at the Kingdom, and then the last moments with Carl. At first, it really felt off for me, but watching it a second time, it really, really, really makes sense because Henry's journey is very much like Carl's, and they're showing it, you know, back and forth, and you know everything, you know, that happened with him, especially with, you know, the whole Gavin thing. I mean, it's very similar to Carl's, and you know, Carl was like the future of the world, much like Henry is now, and Judith and all these kids, and so I really ended up liking how they did that. I think that turned out really well.
You mean with
like the back and forth? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so with that being said, let's go back to the beginning of like what's happening at the kingdom. All the kingdom people are heading to Carol's old house. Carol's, you know, going back to save the king, and you know, we find out that Henry snuck with her, and yeah, Morgan is still going down very, very dark path. I mean, he is turning to this like barbaric soldier, and he's just like hunting down these people.
He's a barbaric soldier with OCD. He's not happy till they're all dead.
For sure. And he does it in such a creepy way. He's just like pursuing them slowly. I mean, it's like straight from a horror movie. You know what I mean?
He's just good at killing people.
Oh, for sure.
He's Rambo. I said that last night. He's Rambo. Like, once you turn him on, you can't turn him off. Like, not until everybody is dead. He's just a weapon at this point.
But with that being said, like, I think the moment that when Henry killed Gavin, that brought him back a step. I think that turned off his Rambo.
The kid's lucky he didn't get a stick through his head after that. Just a reflex. You killed him. Right. I was trying to kill every single one of them, kid.
But I have to say, though, that moment was...
When the kid stuck his little mini stick in there?
Yes. Oh, my
Why do you think he did that?
Because
he killed his brother.
Himself.
Do you think it's... Oh.
They killed his brother, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
but he
too,
wasn't
for
defending.
Sure.
Morgan pretty well had it. Do you think he did it to help Morgan out?
I think he did it because he wanted to prove himself, and he, like Tony said, he took
the kill away from Morgan to help him, or did he do it to prove himself in front of everybody?
Prove himself in front of everybody, and probably because he was feeling, like Tony said,
there's no one left to kill. I have to kill this guy, or I'm screwed.
Yeah.
No, it was just, I don't know. I wasn't sure what his motivation was.
I think his motivation was just, you know, they killed his brother, and he's been looking to be able to prove himself that he can stand up and fight.
Payback for the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was payback, but it was also like trying to show Carol, like hey,
said,
I can do this.
Like a lot like Carl had to.
I think that's what I was gonna say. It's very similar with Carl's thing, but at least like with Gavin, as much as I kind of liked his character because he was the nicer one out of the saviors, you know, so he wasn't like turning himself in, you know, so it was a what's the word I'm looking for, righteous kill, but I don't know. How do you think?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I liked his character a lot, but I was waiting for his moment of redemption throughout the entire episode. I was waiting for that moment where they were gonna, you know, give him that turnaround. You know, Ezekiel kept giving him a chance after chance after chance, and you know, after a couple of those, you know, chances with him turning them down, and then when they pretty much at the point where he pulls everybody into the room, I was like, in my mind, I was like, it's now or never, dude. You better start shooting your own men or you're dying. Like,
yes,
but I appreciated his character that he didn't, redeem himself. That I think he's a character that felt so, like he's a guy who probably had really good morals before all this stuff went down, and now he's a changed man. And now he hates himself too much to probably go back.
Yeah,
like he knows he deserves death, basically.
Completely.
But if he knows he deserves death, if he went against Negan, he would feel like maybe that's gonna get him killed.
Right, but I think it's definitely, if he goes against Negan, that's gonna get him killed. But I think it was more than that. I think it was he
doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve to be redeemed.
To be redeemed.
Well, not just that, but like, I think kind of subconsciously he's accepted this role, he's accepted this position as one of like the higher ups, and you know, it's almost he can't redeem himself, but as a fact of,
and you don't know how much shit he went through to get there either. Like those guys go through some shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so what was I gonna say next? Oh. I do want to say that because, you know, before earlier in the season, and the king was lost and he was just Ezekiel. I was waiting for that moment for the king to come back, and it was so great. It was so great.
You were happy with that?
I was so happy. And it was like the best sentence, and it was so great. And then he follows up with like, you know, I've made choices I can live with, now it's your turn. You know, just like we're talking about with Gavin, like he had all of these chances to turn around, but I'm so glad the king's back. I am so glad. It was
now he
so
just
great.
needs some people.
I know. I mean, they're running low.
And a new tiger.
And then, like, not to mention that, but when they were heading to Carol's old place, it didn't look like any of them were armed.
Well, they just snap necks and stuff. They just pop out from behind trees and...
I guess. But hopefully, I mean, it's not that far to Carol's old place, right? From the kingdom. It was pretty
They had
nearby.
guns and stuff. Didn't they have guns?
I mean, looking at the group and they
They're
walked
just, like,
away.
very minimal, aren't they? They don't...
But then again, they were, like, just captured and probably stripped of their weapons, so they're probably heading there without guns. But, I mean, it's not like nothing's going to happen to them. They're going to make it to Carol's house.
They're good for a while.
Yeah,
They just killed Carl.
Yeah. But yeah, do you guys think that Henry killing Gavin is going to turn Morgan around, or is he going to have some other mental stuff to deal with?
He's still got issues.
Because, I mean, pulling out those guts was
I
so
Pretty awesome.
crazy.
You think you do? You
so
can't say that
crazy.
though when you're trying to survive and you've got. I mean, you
I
do things like
I know,
that.
for sure. I completely agree, but it reminded me
He
of
had an
Rick's
injury,
moment where
right?
he, like, bit that one guy's, like, throat out.
Yeah, they've all done it, but
Yeah.
to get away, you would.
I know.
The only way out
Yeah.
is to rip his guts
Yeah.
out, and that's what you got to do.
What were your guys' reaction when that happened?
I loved it.
This is so great.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
It's so great.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
he's just like, yeah, he's just stringing them out. It's
yeah,
awesome.
like right when he was like, and it looked like the special effects was amazing. Like him putting his hand, like starting to go in the belly.
it was
I was
good
just like, oh no, like is he really going? How
What's he
far
gonna
is
pull out of
going?
there?
Yeah, because at first I was like, if he pulls out a heart,
I
mad.
really wanted him to pull out the heart.
So and then take a big bite out of it.
Indiana Jones style.
Right.
Yeah. So you guys think that he still has some mental stuff?
Oh yeah.
to
Oh,
deal with?
I think he's got some,
He's
but I
always
think that
had
this is
mental
gonna.
stuff.
I think this is gonna start putting him back on the right track a little bit, because he can't go too awfully mad. Well, maybe he goes totally mad and leaves the group though too, because we know that he is leaving the group in some kind of fashion, by by the end of the season.
Right, it's leading up to
you know.
something.
So
Is he, because fear is before, and then
He's
I've
got
heard
a
that they're
stick in
gonna
it.
line
He's
it up.
got a staff in it.
the
He never had
Fear?
The
yeah.
way that I guess the way, at least a shout out to Jonathan over at They Said We Said on the Walking Dead show that we did a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not sure where his information exactly came from, but he seemed to be pretty on board about like where this show was going or how they were doing the crossover,
Gotcha.
which was that both shows are getting a time jump. Like this season's getting or Walking Dead's getting a time jump, and Fear the Walking Dead's getting a time jump. But Morgan's character will be
he's gonna stay
in
the
this
same.
present time
So
here.
Fear catches up to present time. Walking Dead skips forward. So
Right, and
we'll see Morgan in between the two.
yeah, and Morgan's gonna be it'll be post this season Morgan, not
Gotcha.
early Morgan, not in between.
So his story
gap,
carries on.
I guess.
basically into Fear.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting.
I'd buy that, especially
So I'm
with.
curious on what's gonna happen to him. I mean, Tony, did you say that you think he's gonna go crazy and just leave the group?
I mean, that was just my thought. I mean, I have no idea why, what's going to happen. Who knows? I mean, I'm curious to, the helicopter that we saw, like,
It could have a lot
Like,
to do
'cause
with
there's a
the
lot of things that could
Whisperers. It
happen.
could be anything at this point.
that's one of the things, too, that they're saying is that his character is going to be, or at least in Fear the Walking Dead, that's where they're bringing the Whisperers in. They're bringing them into that show, not into The Walking Dead.
Really? Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
yeah,
We'll have to see.
maybe I'll have to have Jonathan as a guest on this show sometime, so
For sure,
we can
yeah.
talk about it.
So did he say like what he thought like was the time jump for Walking Dead?
How far the time jump
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
No, I don't think anybody really knows how far the time jump's going to be.
Yeah.
How long has the apocalypse been happening now in years?
Right, I have no idea.
It can't be very far.
It's not. I honestly
3,
think it's
4?
3 or 4. That's what
So
I
the
was
time
thinking.
jump ain't going to be any more than that if it's catching up with present time, because Fear is that exactly behind.
Mm-hmm.
So it can only be 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. You can't be too. You can't be too far. You can't make Rick an old man, but
Right.
but gray-haired Rick, like if it jumps to
give
that
him
that
nice
time
beard.
frame.
He's just honoring the beard.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we're having strawberries for lunch. Was it
It
tomatoes?
was tomatoes. But the thing is,
Strawberries in the comic,
that's
I
a
think.
good segue because that was the next thing that I was going to talk about is, back at the beginning of this season, Rick says to Carl,
That's what
do
it
you think
is.
we're going to do? Be picking strawberries together or something?
funny.
And then we find out that those future visions are not Rick's, they're Carl's, which I love how they did that. That was so great. And then we see that, no, Carl wasn't thinking that they would pick strawberries. They were thinking he was going to pick tomatoes.
It's just that it's funny that it's there. Like it
Yeah.
popped in his mind,
Yeah.
obviously, at the end of it. And it's like, maybe, pal.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where we all thought it was going. He was the one that was going to diffuse him. So maybe, maybe
Yeah.
it leads to that. I don't...
But that
Just don't
vision
know.
was so great because then we see like Jerry working with Sadiq, which was really, really cool. And then we see Eugene back with our group, which was kind of heartbreaking.
It's all wishful thinking at this point.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But it was really cool because the thing that Eugene it was that hat that he was like working on was a solar like oven, and he
Oh,
was
was
baking
it?
apples. Yeah, so cool. And then when it went to the next little cut to the vision, and we saw the back of that person, I was like, that's Negan. I was like, that's totally Negan. And then we see at the end that
Yeah.
it was, and it was just like, it almost put like a finger in the wound because he just killed himself. Carl just shot himself. And the very next scene is Negan turning around and be like, oh, hey, sweetheart, to his sister. And I was
two
just
things, though.
like, so crazy.
With that, just if that was part of Carl's, then that does prove that that's how his mind worked. Like, he was good enough to see good in him.
And the possibilities.
To include him in that.
Yeah.
But then also, and I do believe it is part of Carl's, and they just showed it at the end, as like you said. But Tony also thought what if that was Rick's premonition of the future while he's sitting up against the tree, and Rick's also having his own.
Rick is having it because Carl told him about his visions.
Right.
Right.
But what if the
Yeah,
Negan
but what if the
part
Negan part of it was
Rick?
Rick's thinking there at the end?
Oh,
And-
right,
and-
because he knew that that's what Carl wanted.
Yeah.
But
And
also,
Rick is there with some type
but
of
isn't
wound, and now
right,
he's like.
but the wound's from being shot. It all kind of
but he says, please let my mercy prevail my wrath.
Right.
So what exactly does that
Negan
mean?
said that.
No.
Rick.
Rick says that. He says,
Yeah.
"Let my mercy prevail over my wrath."
Yeah.
And
Because he's done so many bad things
No,
that he
I
wants.
think with that being, with everything tying together, that part was Carl's visions, and then Rick is obviously fighting for his life in that last scene.
Yeah, because
him saying that, I think something happened with Negan.
He let Negan live. Mercy. He gave Negan mercy instead of wrath.
right.
He didn't kill Negan. He let him live, which in turn.
So you think like that last
So
look in
he's
his
saying-
mind, he was
yeah.
like, I
it's
did it, like I
right.
did
He wants
like
some good karma
Carl's-
back for.
Right, and he was like tearing up because like it connected to Carl, and he
Right.
did Carl's wish.
It is funny in the visions that Rick is injured, and then we see Rick injured. Like Carl couldn't possibly have known that.
Well, no, I don't think Carl was envisioning Rick injured at all.
Right, I think
in
it was just
the-
he
in
was
the visions-
old,
just
old
old-
with Kane, yeah.
But he
yeah.
can't have been that old. No one else was that old. He ain't that old.
Well, it's because it's a little boy's vision of
Okay, it's just
his future.
metaphorical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like he can vision it. His dad
'Cause
with
it's
gray hair
his
and a
dad.
beard.
Because he even says,
but-
I
Yeah.
see you, you're old,
Yeah, you're right.
Michonne is happy,
It's just
and all of
how he
this.
pictured
says
everybody,
that.
and you always make fun of your dad for being old.
Yeah, and of course, like, if you're thinking, like,
True.
in this world, I want anybody to grow old.
Just
Just nobody's going to be able to. So if
Yeah.
anybody, like, they want to grow old, as your own dad or, parents or whatever. But, so, with Rick being injured, what do you guys kind of think in the direction that they're going? Like, how did he get injured? I mean, obviously he's not big. Like,
I
it's,
think
it's
that there
something
was-
in his side. He's
Yeah.
not big because they're not going to do that.
I
He's
think he
definitely
let
shot.
Negan live. Something happened, and either somebody else killed Negan, or Negan's still alive. but something went down because he's still in the trailer for the next one after Negan, according to the trailer. But I think there's a moment that's going to happen when he does get his chance that he doesn't.
He got his chance, let Negan survive, and he got hurt in the meantime.
Because of making that decision.
Yeah, and then his last, or, you know, he's thinking that it's his last, like, okay, I let him go, I did, you know, Carl's bidding or whatever.
Or somebody tried to shoot Negan, he pushes Negan out of the way, and he gets shot instead.
Oh, yeah.
He saved Negan from a bullet.
But if that's the case, where is everybody else, and why is Rick
up against the tree?
by
that's
himself,
a good question.
You know, like, where's Michonne? I mean, he seems to be out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've seen that stained glass window somewhere.
That's what I was trying to figure out too. Like, I feel like we've seen it somewhere too.
Was it the shack? What was it? Maybe one of them shacks? Where Morgan went to get training, or somewhere like that we've seen.
Where Morgan went to get training, I think that's a bit
because they were hanging,
from where
but they were hanging almost right by a tree.
Yeah, yeah.
It was weird, like
it was really weird, but it seems it's kind of like I don't know. I know
what if he's in the? I don't know.
Before we had mentioned that maybe, you know, like the very first episode of the season, this is what we saw was him, you know, crying, all of this, and we saw the stained glass window.
Yeah.
And before we thought maybe it was by Oceanside. But with it being kind of like a panned out view, you saw that there's like a big meadow behind him and just like that one
What
tree.
if they took the stained glass windows out of the burned up church and just made some kind of memorial
and that's
for
where
Carl
is?
And he's buried by under the tree? And
where did they bury Carl? Was it inside
They don't make it clear.
I think it was inside Alexandria, but I'm not sure. That's the vibe that I got.
And that's fine. Like, it
maybe
makes
he
sense
went
that
back
they
to Carl's
would
grave.
bury him there because it's right there. It's easiest. That's where like their home was. But it's like, what are they gonna do with Alexandria after it? Like, there's no way that they're gonna be able. I mean, it's gonna take a lot.
They can rebuild.
Of work. Is it really worth it building Alexandria back up?
I don't really think they know what they're gonna do yet.
Right.
But yeah, I don't. Are you saying that you don't think he would leave Carl's grave?
No, I'm saying like it's just with Alexandria being destroyed, it's kind of sad that that's where Carl is buried because it just doesn't seem like it would be beneficial to go back there and try to rebuild it. Like, it just makes sense to go somewhere else.
But it's not like they can take his body anywhere.
The New World Order is going to take him to a safe place.
Yeah.
I think something big's about to happen. The helicopter, there's something's going to shift, and if there's a time jump, then that would make sense too.
It would make sense, and everything is already built up.
But then that just
past that,
it's leading to an end, is what it's doing.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. Which is kind of bittersweet.
Happy
it
ending,
does need
probably.
to end soon, but I would hope so.
With
like if it does not
everybody
end
happy
happily,
ever after eating
BLTs.
BLTs.
It can't end happily.
I mean, in a sense,
you can
it
take a
needs to
show that's
almost.
based in an apocalypse and actually end it happy.
And that's kind of where Kirkman started this. You know, he wanted to create a story to show people living on in the apocalypse.
Well, he wanted to create a show that he wanted to create a zombie show that lasted forever. He didn't necessarily give a shit about giving people a happy ending. His entire premise of starting the comic book was, I hate how zombie movies end because they're still stuck in a zombie apocalypse. So he wanted to create a thing that was like, this is just people surviving forever.
Right.
Which is why he just keeps on pumping them out.
It's true, but eventually something's got to give. If
well, yeah,
not, everybody dies.
With a TV show is different than a comic book.
Right.
A comic book comes out once a month, and it's a little tiny little chapter into a story. Where a TV show might come out once a year, but I mean, it's it
has to end.
It has to end. There's a lot more
time
money involved in
season.
it. You got a bunch of actors. I mean, just from the like the filmmaking side of things, like or the marketing side of things, it's like
But the thing
shows
is,
are only marketable
for the
for so
fans,
long.
and what they're forgetting is, even if the show ends, you can still read your day in comic books.
Right.
Oh, for
And
sure.
the story continues forever in comics, so
Yeah.
Yeah, in comics and in
Fear's
books
on. And they're gonna keep that probably going. So I mean, I don't know. Even if
I doubt it.
ends,
If Walking Dead ends, I think Fear probably ends too.
it might be.
Just because Fear isn't getting as much of the ratings that Walking Dead is.
Right.
So I don't imagine them both. I imagine if one goes, they both go. Well, if Proper goes, then Fear probably goes. If Fear goes, Proper can still hang on for a while.
Right.
I think that they should just smash the two together
I agree.
and see and
And that's how
for like
they
a
end
final
it.
season.
The
yeah.
ending should be them two merged.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
But if they both chomp an equal amount of time, that won't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see though. We'll see what really happens. I mean, I think right now most of it's just rumors. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know. Just see what happens.
Everybody is heading to the hilltop, you know, after everything. That's kind of going to be the meeting point, and I mean, which will be the next target, because as we saw, at least I saw in the sneak peek, Maggie's present made it back to Negan, and Simon is pissed that the satellite post was his guys, and now he is out for blood even more so than what he was before. So with that, and sorry guys,
It's time for bed.
How
Right on
professional.
But so with that, and them knowing that there's more prisoners of war, now Negan is pissed too. But do you think that Carl's death is going to change his
Because
mind, even
Negan's-
though all of this is going on?
Negan's got to be panicking a little bit. He's out of bullets. He's out of people almost.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
He's got to start realizing that his big mouth's not really working anymore. And, you know.
But now you're like, because at this point he doesn't realize that Carl is dead.
That's
but
gonna-
he
that's
has
gonna
one
make
of
a
his
big
guys
difference.
sent to him, and that's a pretty bold thing of Maggie, to do.
Right.
So I think that's gonna put Negan back onto like yes, we're screwed right now, but we're gonna keep going and we're gonna kill these guys, you know.
Negan doesn't have a doctor, does he?
Well, there's
But
Hilltop's doctor.
But he's with.
He's with Gabriel,
Gabriel.
and Eugene is going to try and get them out. So that's still that's a question that still needs
We
to
don't
be
know
answered.
about that yet.
Yeah.
But the doctor is there right
Yeah.
now. I'm just wondering how Sadiq might play into some of this.
Yeah, I think Sadiq's going to end up being their doctor. I think that the other doctor is going to end up dying on his way.
Yeah. Which I'm glad you guys said that, because I almost forgot about that. I mean, it's crazy that it happened like that, because I don't think Carl didn't know that before.
No, he didn't
No.
know.
And
It's just
now
how
that
it
he's
worked out.
gone,
But
yeah, so-
it's a reason to keep him around.
For sure.
Yeah.
He
Like Carl's
kept
death-
Carl alive a little bit longer,
Well,
hopefully,
he's
maybe
kind
than
of
he
like
should
he's
have been.
kind of like Noah in that sense, because when Beth died, she died because she was defending him and trying to get him out. So they all accepted Noah right off the bat. And in the same vein, I think they're going to accept Sadiq. And then, of
Sadiq's a
course, it
lesson,
helps that
though.
he's a doctor.
He's
so
a life lesson for Rick as well. Like,
For
you
sure.
remember what happened there. Like, he's there to keep Rick on track, because every time Rick looks at Sadiq, he's going to think of Carl.
Right, but do
So-
you think, because I didn't even think about this, do you think Rick is going to feel guilty? Because if he didn't shoot at Sadiq and run him off and upset Carl wouldn't have been out there to go find him
No,
and
it's
help
not
him
going to get
out.
to that.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Rick's, you can tell with the time he got to spend with Kyle is something that you don't get in this apocalypse thing. Normally it's a quick, nasty death. Like,
Yeah.
although he did get bit, it was a nice, clean. It wasn't,
And he didn't even turn into a walker.
Right, so
you know?
the whole thing, he had time, a little bit of time to grieve. They've dealt with this enough. And even though that is your son, you could tell that he was already trying to force himself to move forward and take those lessons
Yeah.
learned from Carl and try
Yeah.
and start using
Well, and
them.
Carl's even telling Michonne, which just was so hard to hear. He was just like, I don't want you to be sad. I don't want you
Right.
to carry this. And it's just like, it almost brings me to tears now. Like, it's just,
They
I
have
guess
to
with
honor
that
him.
being said, yeah.
And
It's like they have to fight on.
And that's how they
go
move
on.
forward. And that's
Yeah.
why Carl said that. He knows that they're going to honor him.
So
you know?
maybe Negan's going to honor him because he obviously had a connection with Carl.
It's gonna
But then
change
Simon
things.
is going to be like, no, they killed my men. So maybe it's Simon that's going after Negan. Yeah. And then,
Maybe Simon's the one that shoots Negan
Yeah.
and Rick protects him.
yeah.
Holy crap. Something like that is going to happen, I think. Something that, in Rick's mind, he has to. I'm mad about it because I want to see Negan dead.
For sure.
But now I really want to see how they play this out.
I know,
so.
because, and like, do you think that it changes for anybody? Because obviously it changes things for Rick. It will change things
It
for
changes
Negan.
for all of them.
But what about Tara and Daryl? Because they're so gung-ho on killing Dwight. So
But they didn't.
with all
Yeah,
of
but they
this,
And they listened to Dwight. and Dwight got him through the sewers.
Which was really cool because Rosita was definitely like agreeing with him and standing with him.
A while back, all of them wanted just nothing but just to kill them all.
Right.
So they can be reasoned with. Even Daryl.
So you think even Tara and Daryl, because they were like dead set that they were going to do it.
Who wasn't in the premonition? Not that matters.
Everybody.
They were all basically there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if one of them's gonna fuck up like they always do, or you know, I just don't know. I just
feel like Tara and Daryl are so gung ho about killing Dwight that I really think if it's not gonna change anybody, it's gonna be them. I think they're gonna have a hard time accepting it and doing, honoring.
I don't think that they'll have a hard time accepting. I mean, they'll have a hard time accepting Negan for sure, but I think that as far as Dwight's concerned, I don't think they're gonna have a hard time accepting him at all. I think that Daryl's like, little like nudge to Rick, like, hey, by the way, we're cool. Like, your kid's dying, we're cool. I think
it's enough.
Yeah, I think it's enough for sure. Sometimes, it's a big moment right now. Like, they can put this beyond themselves now and move forward. But when it comes to killing Negan, I think that's when heads are gonna butt. I don't think if it comes down to Rick saying we're not gonna kill him, I think that heads will butt then.
I agree.
But I think as far as Dwight, I think Dwight's.
And that's why I can't decide where I feel like that somebody is going to attack, and I feel like Rick's going to prevent the attack. I just don't know if it's got to be from Rick's side of the fence, don't you think?
Yeah.
Somebody from there.
But I guess
but they all listen to Carl, and I don't.
Yeah.
They all,
and then
and everybody's got a note. Who knows what Carl's written to every single person that might change their mind on where they're at now.
All of their personalities and how they would react to it. Like,
and I think, like, I do take it back. I think Daryl's gonna have a change of heart because if he was still like wanting to kill Dwight, he wouldn't have said that he would take Judith and protect her. Because how can he take a risk and try and kill somebody while he's trying to protect Judith? So that was a big thing for him.
Something like a small thing that I just thought about was Carl is gonna be in the entire rest of this freaking season because every single episode's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna read my note in this particular episode and gonna get sad. So they're just gonna drag this whole death out forever.
But what if those notes do work up a fucking plan, like an end game plan that resolves everything in a way that doesn't hurt anybody?
I hope we get to see them read.
He got them all out of there.
Hear what they read, what he wrote to them.
Maybe this whole thing. We will. It's still. I think it's going to unravel a bit more of Carl's plan, which is going to obviously include. Yeah. I was shocked he didn't write Negan a note. Honestly.
Maybe he did.
Who would have it?
Rick.
I think you would see him give it to Rick. I think maybe if he gave a note to somebody else, and inside that note, you make sure Negan gets this note. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Keeping him alive in notes. That's pretty smart, ain't it?
Yeah, and definitely there's going to be flashbacks.
Smart. I don't think there's going to be flashbacks.
I think so.
We've seen enough of Carl. He's dead. Move on.
They don't really do flashbacks much in The Walking Dead.
As much as it's really sad that he's dead.
They show her from a different point of view type of flashback. Yeah.
I'd rather not see Ghost Carl like we did with What's-Her-Nuts and
Laurie.
With Laurie.
More of a
I'd rather not see.
I don't think we'll see that.
Yeah.
I'd rather there'll be at least a couple flashbacks though.
Walking doesn't really do flashbacks.
You don't think so?
I think they'll keep him around.
Have they ever done a flashback?
I'm trying to think now. I'm not sure.
I don't think that they do.
Not a flashback. They've rewound the story and shown it from a different perspective. But I don't know that they've ever done a flashback.
Well, they did flashbacks leading. Abraham. I don't think they did flashbacks, did they?
With Michonne, or not Michonne, with
Rosita
Sasha?
Or Sasha.
It was right before they had left.
Maggie.
Right.
But it was a different. Yeah, but it was from a different perspective, right? It wasn't an actual flashback. It was just like.
Haven't we seen when people?
I took it as a flashback because
it's a flashback, but it wasn't like just showing a clip from the show. It was like, here's something we never saw.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean with Carl. I think we're gonna see little things that we haven't seen before.
No, I agree because I feel like, and I know we've talked about how we feel like Negan's still got a bit of a plan, but I think Carl too.
Yeah, I mean they kind of bring everybody back a little bit, like you know. But
they did it with Glenn.
Yeah, they did it with Glenn and his ghost baby.
As much as it sucks that Carl
ghost baby
is gone, I mean, it really just skyrocketed like this story. You know what I mean? Like,
It needed to happen. Unless people get so pissed off that they kill people in this show.
It's really turning the story interesting.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know how people are going to react to this, and it's
The only way to
I
boost
like the
ratings
direction
on
that
the
it's
show
going.
is to kill a main
have a
character.
shock,
But when
yeah.
they do that, people start crying. Like, what is these people supposed to do that make
Yeah.
this show? You can't win.
Yeah.
It's
like, yeah.
and it does help the story, and obviously
It does.
it already has.
And I love, like, I'm really invested into Walking Dead. I love it, but, you know, when something can get me so invested and manipulate me to cry and laugh and cheer, I mean, they're doing a damn good job. Like, yeah, it sucks, but I'm really excited to see where the story's going.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we'd already talked about Rick being hurt and everything, and I guess that's one question that
They
needs
had
to
a
be
food
answered.
fight, and Negan threw a tomato at him. Oh, I was like, man, this is a good shirt.
So he's crying over
Crying
his
under
shit.
the tree.
But we have other questions that need to be answered. What's going on at Oceanside? I mean,
I'm
seeing
so
the
confused by
commercial-
Oceanside at
right.
the moment.
Well, we see that Aaron and Edith. I always say her name wrong.
You do.
Edith is okay
What?
because right
Enid.
after the episode.
Enid.
Enid.
What's wrong with you guys?
Hey.
You went on with
It
Edith
popped
there
in
for way too long.
I don't know why I said
Enid.
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 Hey. Freaking A.
It's dying
But-
backwards.
But we know that they're
It's
okay.
dying backwards.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Just remember that. You'll never forget that.
I'm so confused.
The word dine, like you're dining, eating,
Yeah.
backwards.
It
Enid.
doesn't help me.
It sure does.
It does not help me. But we see in the commercial after the episode ended that Aaron and her, the girl, is
Enid.
okay, but we don't see anything about Oceanside. So do you think that
Yeah,
they
they just
let
killed the
them
leader
go?
over there. Like,
Let
whoa.
them go and they're not gonna fight? Like, what do you think
I
is
have
going
no.
on
I
there?
honest to God have no idea what's even
Because
going
that's
on.
so
over
crazy.
there. Yeah, it's. I don't know.
What do you hope will happen? Like, how do you kind of envision that going?
I don't know.
Because obviously,
How many other good places left are there to live? Do they all just go live at the hilltop?
I
Or
I mean,
do
they
just
could move anywhere.
live
They
there?
could walk to Texas. I mean,
at least they have a
Did you
beach.
say something about walking to Texas?
they can go wherever they want.
They
This is
literally
true.
can. I
This
mean,
is true.
It'll just take a long time.
But they're obviously doing something with Oceanside. We've seen too much of them. There's too much going on that side of things for them not to be.
something's
appearing
coming
in
with
the-
them,
in
but
the
they've just
show.
put them on the back burner for now
Yeah,
because they're
like they
just
did
not
before.
right.
Where is Heath?
Oh, forget about him.
I keep forgetting
He's
about
not
him.
crucial
What the heck
anymore
is
to the.
going on?
You know what I thought was
the heck?
last night. I had a thought about Heath when they were showing. Speaking of flashbacks, it wasn't a flashback, but they were going back and showing more about the stuff that happened. What was it? Somebody was out killing. I can't even remember now. But they were killing walkers or something. I'm like, wouldn't it have been cool if one of them was Heath and he just had to like put it.
I mean, at least do something.
Out of his
At least do
misery.
something. Like, I really don't complain about the show very much, but like that is crap.
if
That
it-
is very.
It's not. He wasn't even. He was on
Oh,
the show for like
I
3
remember what it
episodes.
was.
Nobody cared who he was. Like,
But
it
okay,
doesn't matter.
That's fine. But don't leave such a big loose end that he gets taken.
It's-
You can't
and there's
explain
absolutely
everything.
Hey, it's the
no thing.
apocalypse. What does it
People go
matter?
missing.
People go missing. People leave. It
At
happens.
least talk about him a little bit and be like, oh.
Nobody
poor
cares.
Heath.
Carl
Nobody
just
cares. He
died.
was there
He's
for
hot
like 3
topic.
days. Nobody cares.
I'm just saying. It's weird how they did it.
I got.
They did it that way because the dude's up and coming, and they were like, well, if we can get him back, we'll get him back. But he's Dr. Dre for the
They
rest of his
left it-
life
they
now,
left
so
it open,
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
I have one beef about the show last night,
just
Rebecca.
tell me.
One beef.
I do too, actually.
It's when they went back
Mhm.
and showed Carl getting bit. Like they had felt like they had to fix it. You know, we saw it happen, and when he talks about it,
Mhm.
but they had to go back and show it extreme close up, of the face. Like it just felt like they were just not
I mean,
fixing it, but like
we obviously knew when it happened, but I personally was okay with that because we got to be really up close and personal and see his reaction.
But it was different from
when
the
it
reaction
happened.
when it happened before.
Because you didn't even see the part though.
You did see
You
him,
figured like, oh, because those 2 walkers are on him. He's fallen into the deer.
but they close upped on his face then, and it wasn't. The same.
I don't
Because right
know.
After that, they cut to Sadiq.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was. Yeah, I think they
They cut
to-
away?
Yeah, they cut away.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
personally liked it because then we could see like him like, you know, his whole reaction to it.
But they clearly didn't film it there. It wasn't already
No.
filmed, so they
No,
added
like,
it.
completely. Yeah.
So it was just like,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessary.
The one thing that I really didn't like, I mean, I loved his interaction with Judith. That was so hard and just a tearjerker. But the only thing that I have, because she is a toddler, my daughter is 3, and even at 2, she was talking. So I just wanted some dialogue for Judith instead of her just crying, which sucks. That made me cry even more when she's crying when she's being pulled away from Carl.
The add
But
in
it's like,
fake
fake
cry.
baby cry.
give her some line, like say his name or
Do
something.
you know what would have made the
know?
moment better? Is when they flash back to her, and if you after like you see Carl, and then it flashes back to her, and when you see her looking back at him, a snot bubble starts popping out.
Stop.
I think
she's
what
breathing.
would have been better is when it shows, you know, Daryl holding her, that he wasn't holding a baby doll the whole time.
Yeah, a stationary baby with a wig on.
Yeah.
I got
that
her,
poor
Rick.
thing. She's so used to all the commotion. Like the bombs are going off, and she knows to be quiet. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
At least that part I think is believable because
That's 'cause there wasn't really
Are you
bombs
talking about
going off.
as an actor kid or as a kid in
just
the apocalypse?
as a kid in the apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because like this whole time, like she's just learned to be quiet. So then again, like a kid that was born into the apocalypse is gonna have some issues and is probably not gonna talk until they're like 5 or 6
Maybe
years
the reason
old.
she's
You know
not
what I
talking is
mean?
because she's deaf and she didn't
But
hear the
at
bombs.
least,
She's just like, what?
but just like
Snot
a little
bubble.
bit of saying something to her brother. You know, that's the only issue that I had with last night's episode. You know, I just wanted some dialogue for her. You know, just a little more, just a little more. But
Dying's awkward.
It is awkward.
It's not happy.
No, it's not.
It's awkward and sad.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes you just gotta turn away and cry.
Oh, and I did. I had the ugly cry going. That was for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that this might be one of my favorite episodes. I think it was absolutely
Just because
amazing.
of all the
It was
feels?
great. All the feels, like the roll. It was literally a roller coaster of emotions. Because one time I'm like cheering and like it's at the edge of my seat, and the next time I'm sobbing and crying. So I think they did really well with it.
It was good. It was very well done.
Yeah.
Greg Nicotero does an amazing job as
Yes,
a
he
director.
does. He's so awesome. But really, that's kind of all I have. Is there anything like other thoughts that you guys have? Is there any comments below?
Nope.
Aww.
Nobody cares about Carl.
I'm gonna start crying, guys.
Except you. I care.
So yeah, I guess that's really it. Is there anything that we missed, guys?
I don't think so. We miss anything, Tony?
No, we didn't miss anything, but I got some sweet Becca crying going on here on my
Oh,
screen.
Oh, can we- are we
Did you
looking at
find
that
my
right now?
reaction video?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh. I wish I could see it. I'll have to check that out later.
it's so bad.
Is it
It's
ugly?
so
Can we
bad.
slow it down and zoom in?
It is very ugly.
That would be fun.
And like
Yeah.
here's the thing, like even though I was by myself, I still somewhat held myself back because I knew I had a camera on me, so like I kind of like tried to contain myself. But plus, you know, editing is a beautiful thing. There are some really ugly moments of mine that I decided not to put in there.
Maybe
so,
do a
so bad.
a Walking Dead cry-in blooper reel.
Oh, you added a bunch of stuff to the end of this thing?
I did. I added a couple pictures of Carl at the end.
A memorial.
Yeah.
Meh.
But
So I'll just
speaking
keep
of
cry face on
videos
for a little
and
while.
stuff of like Becca, I decided that I think I'm gonna submit for the Ultimate Walking Dead fan.
We've been telling you to do that, and
Yeah,
when
I
it
think
popped up last night, I thought of you again.
I think I'm gonna do it, and I think I know how I want to do it. So
Yay!
Don't say because we're
Vote-
live,
vote
and
for
someone
me.
will steal your idea.
vote for me, please. I'd love you
Well,
forever.
maybe they can vote for you when you do it, because
Yeah,
Don't-
when it's up there, I'll let you guys know, and then you can vote for me. Yeah.
We'll put a link below. Don't hold your breath. You need to do that
Yeah, I think I do, and I know how I'm gonna do it.
because you
How we
might
talked about
just
it
be
before.
the ultimate Walking Dead fan.
I don't know if I'm.
I should submit too.
It's just
Yeah, Tony, you should.
hitting the mic.
Nobody likes the show more than you, Tony.
So bad. So bad. But
Alright.
what's going on with you guys? What's going on for H&M Films?
Oh, we got lots going on. We're always busy.
Right? Kill Dolly Kill.
Kill Dolly Kill.
Deadly 2 is coming up. We're going to film that in May, right?
Yep. Finishing that up. Working on a Heavenly Holly spin-off.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Naughty Schoolgirls, almost done. Script.
It's very exciting.
Stuff
very
and things.
exciting.
How about you, Becca?
Well...
That's you. Funny you ask.
No, I mean, not really. I have my channel still going on YouTube, Peaky LARP Chick. I had a big audition that I had a couple weeks ago, so hopefully my next video will be telling you guys about that. Other than that, there's the Midwest Action Fest that I will be co-hosting with Tom Commissar, coming up April 20th and 21st at the State Theater in Logansport, Indiana. Woo!
Yep, we got some killer movies for that thing.
Killer movies. So excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, so there's going to be like comedy, action, adventure. There's going to be food and drinks and special guests and
A Batmobile.
vendors, a Batmobile. It's going to be so great. It's going to be great. Tony, what do you got going on?
Not a whole lot.
He got a puppy not long ago.
I did get a puppy. Yeah, I got a puppy. I got a new game show that I'm editing right now that will be coming out soon. I'm gonna go maybe see Death Wish this week and watch that and do a review on it. I'm hoping to bring the vlog back pretty soon.
Yes, please do. I missed that.
And maybe, just maybe, we'll actually get a video game episode out on Wednesday, but we'll see about that. I don't know. I've been trying to do that for a while, but I got a really good one coming this week, so maybe I'll give you guys a little teaser of that before you guys leave tonight. I just gotta. I'll show you when we're off air.
Top secret stuff.
It's pretty great.
Peek before you guys.
Is that it?
So I think that's it.
I think that's it
All
too.
right. Well.
Man.
All right, well, I guess I'll wrap this thing up. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more episodes just like this one, and we'll catch you guys next time right here on Spoiling Dead. Next week, actually. We'll catch you next week. Monday,
yes, we're back,
Monday nights,
bitches.
live at 7. We are totally back.
We're
It's a thing. I'm not done streaming yet. All right, bye-bye.
Monday's a call again.